Hello everybody, my name is Ryan, and I'm not seeing Beauty and the Beast this week, so I figured, who the fuck cares if it's a week late, let's review Kong Skull Island. I think that this movie is pretty bad, but there is some fun stuff to be had in it, and it's inevitably going to cross over with Godzilla, so I can sit through this. Let's get into it. This is Nerd. So to start off, I'm going to say, this movie is not good. I don't think it's trying to be the best movie, but the annoying thing is, it's trying to be the best movie. It is really weirdly trying to do a whole lot when it really doesn't need to. I think that the thing this movie sells, just nails more than anything, is cinematography. The colors in this movie look really great. There's a few really good shots, but again, you can see most of this in the trailers. Everything that I can say the best parts of this movie are in the trailers, which is essentially just the shot of Kong standing up with the sun in the background and the choppers flying at him, and just some shots of the choppers. And all of John C. Reilly's best lines are essentially in the trailers too. There is a lot to enjoy about this movie, and most of it's in the trailers, and it's not really a fault of the movie, because they put relatively little, I guess, in the trailers, because there is a lot in this movie. But at the same time, the trailer showed me everything I really enjoyed about this. So before I go in just shitting on it, let's talk about what I really enjoyed. First of all, John C. Reilly is fantastic. He is the best part of this movie. It feels like he's ad-libbing a lot of his lines, because his writing is much better than everyone else's writing. He is really weird and really great as this guy who's been living on this island for 30 years, and he wraps together the movie really nicely from beginning to end, and I don't want to spoil anything, but the during credit scene almost made me cry, and it was one of the it's probably the greatest credit scene of all time. It's up there at least. It's during credits, while the credits are rolling, stuff happening on screen. This is the best I can think of something that's been in the credits, because it was really nice, and I don't want to spoil what it is, but if you know what I'm talking about, because you've probably seen the movie by now, there you go. Kong in this movie, Kong is kind of threatening as shit, and I really like it. I think that the monsters in this movie are pretty well done. There are a lot of monsters, and there are monsters who are just kind of thrown in there for the hell of it. Samuel L. Jackson just kind of snipes at a bird at one point and explodes purple blood, and it's that's just a monster that they threw in there, and it's kind of fun that they did. When Kong destroys the tentacle, the octopus kind of thing, that's just a huge one. It looks like the octopus taking him down, and then all of a sudden he's nope, and just rips its arms off, tentacles. The point is, it's fucking awesome, and Kong is definitely alpha male of this island, and that's really cool. When Kong just fights shit, it's thoroughly entertaining, and it shouldn't be this mind-numbingly, stupidly entertaining. It's just, Kong starts swinging at helicopters, and it's fucking awesome. Again, something we see in the trailers that I kind of wish we didn't. What I will say about this movie, though, the pacing is bizarrely better than I thought it would have, considering that this is in the same universe as 2014's Godzilla, which is some of the worst pacing I've seen in a monster movie ever. Just the fact that we're coming off the back of that, well, not the back exactly, it was 3 years ago, but next in the franchise, again, basically sum the thought of that movie up, the first 45 minutes are building up a monster that isn't Godzilla, and Godzilla still has not been a part of that movie, and it's really weird. But this movie, essentially, I feel by the 30-minute mark, Kong's in this movie. I wasn't timing it, so I'm not going to pull out my phone during the movie, but the point is, it feels like we get Kong after 30 minutes, and that's really nice. That's a good amount of building up what Kong is going to be, and then actually getting delivered on Kong. And again, when Kong comes in and he's just swinging at the helicopters, it's fucking cool. This movie is pretty, entertaining when Kong's on screen. And also, there's this one creature that's a giant spider, and it just kind of sticks its leg, steps through a guy. And, it's kind of scary. It's a really cool shot. That's basically all the good stuff I want to say about this movie. Samuel L. Jackson also, he's not bad. He's doing a good job acting, but the character's terribly written. Now let's talk about all the shit I hated in this movie. This might be one of the most poorly written movies I've seen in a long time. All the dialogue is terrible, the characters are written really shittily, it's very paint by numbers, none of the characters, besides John C. Reilly, are really worth caring about. There is a moment at the beginning of the movie where we meet the soldier played by Toby Kebbell, and I just feel so bad for him. He's a great actor, but he keeps getting put in the shit. But the point is, we meet the soldier, and they're what are you going to do? Samuel L. Jackson says, what are you going to do? Toby Kebbell says, well, I have a son and a family, so you know I'm going to die. and blah blah blah, I'm gonna go see them now that the war's over. And Samuel L. Jackson just kind of looks at the bottle, looks at like a bunch of knickknacks, like medals he has from the war, and he's like, all this for nothing. Toby Kebbell's like, oh, there's something wrong there? And he's like, nah, I ain't saying anything, get out. It's like, that, he just spoke out loud. It's like, the writing didn't imagine that a good actor would play this role, so they just said the words out loud. But then you have Samuel L. Jackson in it, so you really didn't need to say the line. It's a terrible line. A lot of the dialogue in this movie is really bad. You have Samuel Jackson saying, I am the cavalry, which is something we've heard far too many times to still be good. The movie is set in the 70s, where maybe this line would have been cool, but really it's just been used too many times. This movie is also really weirdly not sure who the bad guy is. John Goodman is sometimes kind of the bad guy for getting them on this island, and Samuel Jackson is sometimes the bad guy for going after Kong, and Kong is sometimes the bad guy because he killed a bunch of people. The movie doesn't really definitively give a villain, and it's weird because there are a lot of villains. Samuel Jackson is probably the most human villain, and then there's also just a monster villain who's clearly the villain. But Samuel Jackson is, like, clearly bloodlust, like, kind of going after Kong. But he has a good point, and it makes it kind of it makes you think about it a little too much than I want to in a Kong movie. So I honestly don't care. Like, this movie is supposed to be a popcorn movie. I'm supposed to sit down, I'm supposed to get some enjoyment out of it, and this was boring. I'm sorry. This movie is super entertaining when Kong's on screen, and when Kong is not there, my God, I nearly fell asleep. I had to get up of the theater and just kind of walk down the stairs and up the stairs because I was about to fall asleep, and I just had to move. I was bored during this movie, and it was just kind of pissing me off. But the point is, there is some good stuff in this movie. Again, when Kong shows up, when Kong wrecks shit, it's pretty entertaining. However, the directing is goddamn awful. These characters are terrible. The acting is bad, and the fact that this cast includes Samuel L. Jackson, Tom Hiddleston, Corey Hawkins, Brie Larson, Toby Kebbell, and a shit ton of fantastic actors, the movie should not be this poorly acted. The characters are all kind of bad. That's probably more so a writing fault, though. Tom Hiddleston is brought on as essentially Nathan Drake of the King Kong world. Like, he's a jungle guide, and he can get us around. He's cool, but it's a King Kong movie, so it doesn't fucking matter how cool you make Tom Hiddleston, because he's not King Kong. So we don't give a shit about him. The same thing happened with Aaron Taylor Johnson in Godzilla. I will say, you cannot argue me on this. The characters in Kong are for sure better than the characters in Godzilla, because the characters in Godzilla are either interesting and then killed off, or not interesting at all and in it for too long. This movie has, like, enough semi-interesting characters to last a little bit, and once John C. Reilly comes in, he's just fun by himself. Like, he is a good character. One of the only good characters in this movie. The editing in this movie is also goddamn awful. Whoever edited this should not get a job again. There is a part where John C. Reilly picks up a sword and he puts it in, like, the sword handle. I don't know what it's called, but, like, on his belt. And it's 3 shots. He picks up the sword, that's 1 shot. Then he holds it to put it in the casket or whatever it's called, the sword handle. That's another shot. And then as he puts it in, that's a 3rd shot. It's a Taken level of over-editing. And it's just, like, the director shot that 3 times. And I'm assuming it was like, let's get different angles to, like, see what they want to do, and the editor's like, we'll do all of them, and it doesn't work out well. This movie is shittily written, shittily acted, shittily directed, and shittily edited, but oh my God, is it fun when Kong shows up. The movie is saved essentially by John C. Reilly and by Kong, and the ending of the movie is actually really good, but God, I was watching the after credits scene, keep in mind, I was the only person to stick to the after credits scene, and as I'm watching the after credits scene, I'm still noticing the directing in this movie is shitty. It's still really badly directed and really badly edited. And in like a 30-second post-credit scene that's just supposed to be getting me excited for the next Godzilla movie, spoiler, I guess, what else are they setting up for in the post-credit scene? You probably wouldn't have stayed anyway, it's like 10 minutes of credits. The point is that I'm sticking through this and I notice, God, this is so bad. So this movie is like, it's pretty bad, but it's fun when Kong's there, and honestly, that's all you really need. So, would I recommend going to see this? I would recommend like renting it on Google Play and skipping through all the parts that Kong isn't in, and all the parts that weird spider monster isn't in. So what do you think? Comment your thoughts down below. Give this video a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more movie reviews, and I'll see you all next time.